Hey.
Hey.
Here we
So,
go.
I think the last time I saw you in person was probably 2 decades ago.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Where was that? It was that. Wasn't that Walmart? I think it was at Walmart.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
I remember seeing a statue that you had made of a pirate down in Pawcatuck, down by where the police station is, down by
oh yes, yes.
yeah.
That was that was kind of a crazy story. That was a commissioned piece for a maritime museum in North Carolina,
Oh,
and they commissioned me to do a life-size pirate, and I did it seated on the treasure chest, and I made it so that kids could pose around it,
oh,
and it would be like a photo focal point thing, and I went and delivered it. I drove it down in
wow.
our Subaru at the time, and that was actually a lot of fun. And a few months later, the the guy who was the curator for the museum abruptly left, and a
Oh,
new curator moved in, and he eliminated all of the contemporary art in the museum.
oh
So
my God.
yeah, there were a bunch of really cool paintings of uh, pirates and privateers and
Wow.
people from like merchant vessels, old maritime ship pieces. They were all returned.
Oh,
However, because mine was a life-size resin sculpture, they decided to return it, but they didn't want to pay to crate it, so
uh,
I think they sent it back in two pieces.
wow.
Yeah.
That's
And then later, when that happened, when I was in New Orleans, I grabbed it from New England, and it was down in New Orleans for a few years before a storm came through
oh.
and blew it apart again. And then I just said,
Ah,
the hell with it. There are actually two other casts of that pirate piece um, that people own. So it exists out there somewhere.
oh wow.
Yeah, so um, I'll just let everyone know that you are painting in Pawcatuck.
Yeah.
And is this photo that you took from,
This is this is
is that like a local beach, like near
yeah,
Misquamicut?
Musqueamish State Beach in Rhode Island.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yes, I know the area well because for several years I worked at the Domino's in
Ah,
Westerly.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got to know I got to know the area well.
Wow.
At least to every
Why did you stay on after school? You like the area?
um we actually um I think went and moved to New Britain, and
Ah,
then from New Britain after I got married to Becky, we moved to Vermont, and then
oh,
from Vermont we went to like Western New York, and then from there we went back to Westerly,
wow.
and um, yeah, and it was there in 2008 finally that we got the motor coach, and then we hit the road, and we've been on the road for 12 years.
Oh, still?
Yeah,
Wow.
still at it. Yeah, just kind of, and before, I had a bunch of other weird jobs like selling cookware and stuff like that, but I've managed to move just into nothing but painting
Wow.
now. And I never painted while we were in school. I
Right.
was I was the anti-painting guy. who always used to make fun of
Yeah.
you guys, mostly because I I think I knew back then that I was probably a little colorblind.
Really?
Yeah, but and then just kind of wrote it off as being an issue for somebody else.
Huh.
Yeah, but
Colorblind. Interesting.
yeah, just a little bit, with the reds and greens,
Huh. Wow.
and I've been able to work my way around it.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I just use like a really limited palette,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, I think you do really well. I
Well,
mean,
thank you.
really well, to be honest with you. Your work is really, really good.
I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. If people don't know your work, you do a lot of um, New York, like Manhattan
Oh,
cityscapes,
yeah,
and I've seen a lot of those on Instagram over the years.
yeah.
Um, Now, is that just when you travel? You take
I think,
photos and
yeah.
okay.
I'm too afraid. I can't do Bob Jones. I can't do it. I
Yeah,
can. He's got some guts there. Deep.
yeah,
Yeah. And he must have some stories too.
yeah. I tried to get a few stories out of him,
Uh,
and um, I'm gonna have to talk to him like another 40 times to actually get the rest of them.
yeah.
Okay, and yeah, I like this reference photo here from the beach. I know that you had a few other like cityscape
Right.
options that you sent, but I tried these before from photos that I took on the West Coast, like near Ruby Beach, and some of the beaches in Northern California, and I tried to paint them, and they they never really turned out that great. So
Huh.
I'm hoping to have a little bit of redemption here and come out with an okay painting.
Yeah. It's like you don't put figure in your paintings often at all.
Um, I I mostly take out figures.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Oh, okay.
yeah. Um, I'm kind of lately more into uh, the mark making in
Okay.
painting, almost like a relief sculpture,
Yeah.
and that's what drives a lot of my image making. Um, and I really haven't been able to proficiently add figures into
Huh.
the mix without confusing myself just a little.
Oh, wow.
So I really do like the blips of color from the figures. So I plan to put it in. So I'm
It's
starting that right now.
so brilliant with when you sculpt and your figurative sculpture work was amazing. I mean, the knowledge you had of the figure was, I mean, you just soaked it up back then. And you're so good at it. I just can, and you just could produce some amazing
Well,
work. You
you're,
know,
you're very kind, Sheila. I
but
was an obnoxious twit back then.
I'm not.
I, oh, I was totally just all over the place. Had I
Yeah,
had my head together, I probably would have gotten more out of it. And, now they say that um, the male brain isn't done cooking until, your later 20s. And I totally believe that. I don't know what I was doing sometimes. Like, just kind of, yeah, just, I didn't do a lot of paying attention. Like, I might have produced some stuff here and there, but I feel as though a lot of it might have been half-baked, you know.
Uh,
I think that a lot of the adult students
yeah.
like you who had patience and maturity under your belt, you probably gleaned a lot more out of school than I did.
I still was very immature for my age.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, it's interesting that looking back now, you sort of feel that way about yourself. I remember um, having a conversation with, I think, Kyle about how it was like how some of the older students, you know, the people in their 30s and 40s who were at the academy, were just kind of so boring, and their questions were kind of slow and plodding, and I felt as though,
Slow.
oh yeah, like the shit I came up with. and now I look back and, you know, I wish I could have been of the proper mind to ask people like Dean Keller good quality questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And instead, I just basically only wanted to bullshit with him. Like, at 19 or 20 years old, I thought it was cooler to hang out with someone like him and just shoot the shit instead of actually listen or, you know, attempt to learn anything. But, you know,
Right.
as they say with hindsight.
Soak it up. Cup of knowledge, huh?
You know, I don't even really remember what most of the painters did for the senior projects. I barely remember what the sculptors did, and this is back in 2000.
Right.
So it's not that long ago. Like, I shouldn't have a memory blip, but I totally do. What was your work focused on again? Do you remember, Sheila?
Oh my God, I remember. It was god awful. You know what? You know what's going? Okay, this is my immaturity. Okay,
Okay.
My whole thing for my project was to paint something that was sellable. It wasn't, yeah, to make money. That was
Yeah.
that was on the forefront of my brain, and so therefore I went and did some god awful marine paintings of sailboats and stuff, and
Oh, really?
types of boats and things. I think you might remember one or two, but because you
Maybe.
were interested in one. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one you particularly liked. And, and you wanted it, and you wanted to barter, and I refused to do it. You know why?
Oh, you know what? I think I remember that now.
Because I thought I could sell it. And I ended up sitting on the damn thing for years later.
Oh, really?
I was thinking to myself in those years, I'm thinking, I should have just bartered with Chris, and I could have had one of his beautiful sculptures, for Christ's sakes.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think most of that stuff exists anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
Jude. That's my dog.
oh, what kind of dog do you have?
That's a little teeny, like Chihuahua type dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then there's another one that's sort of like a Chihuahua type dog. It looks like a Chihuahua, but it's not. It looks like a bat. Literally like a bat.
Like a bat?
Like a bat, yeah.
Oh.
B-A-T. Like the kind Wise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's my fiance's dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, how long ago did you meet your fiance?
Well, that's an interesting story. I was watching this movie on HBO last summer. It came
Uh-huh.
out early summer, I think it came out, and it was called Gentleman Jack, and
Hmm.
it was about
I
this.
remember that. Yeah.
You remember that? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and it was a big deal, and I joined a Facebook group about that. It was all about that show,
Hmm.
and it was heavily monitored, and I actually met her through that.
Oh,
Yeah,
neat.
and she lived in Texas.
Uh-huh.
Texas, yeah, and we were just like we hit it off so much online that we didn't back away from each other because I was in Connecticut, she was in Texas.
Hmm.
So we made a commitment to go to see each other and see how that worked out, and it worked out extremely well. And then I flew back with her to Texas, and then we ended up like and she has 3 adult kids too.
Hmm.
And we ended up shutting everything down that she had out there, putting some of her stuff in storage, got a pod, loaded it up, shut down her apartment, and she quit her job and she moved out here to be with me.
Wow.
I know, right? And all the
So,
time I'm thinking, oh my
so it was
God,
pretty fast then.
I know, but it felt so right,
Good.
and it still feels good. I mean, it's been
Fantastic.
difficult because she didn't know anything about New England, and and then she missed her kids horribly, you know.
Hmm.
So it's been challenging, but we really deeply care for each other. I mean, extremely.
That's
So
great, Sheila.
yeah, it's amazing. And I've been alone for a long time. So I said this felt right. This one felt right to me. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Now,
pretty crazy.
I I remember you a few years ago. I don't know where I saw them. Maybe it was on Instagram. You did a lot of interiors with cats,
Yes. Yeah.
and I meant to ask you about those because they were very loose and like super interesting and atmospheric, and they really felt like interiors. And you did a string of them, and then I didn't see you post them again. Like it was just mostly landscape and cityscape after that.
Right. Yeah. Well, what happened is the galleries weren't taking them.
Oh, okay.
They weren't. At first, some of them were interested, so I was doing them.
Hmm.
And then when I lost a couple of galleries, they shut down or whatever. The
Hmm.
ones that liked them, other galleries weren't interested. They just wanted New York City or beach, which not that much beach. They wanted stuff that wasn't common, but for some reason they didn't want the cats. I thought that was very uncommon the way I
Hmm.
did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I would have thought that the cats would be an interesting and unusual, like positive addition to some of the other work, and that galleries would have thought, oh, she has a certain, you know, amount of leeway in what she can produce and what what you like to paint, and it would have been a plus.
right. Yeah. And it was fun to do as my cat.
Yeah.
She was yeah, she was a good and I experimented with digital stuff
Hmm.
to get the ideas. Like there was some apps out that were a different like panoramic, sort of like the panoramic. It first came out when the rover went up to Mars,
Okay.
and it was a panoramic app, and then they marketed it put it online. It was free. And so I messed around with this panoramic app, and then I said, I did this panoramic picture, right, a photo, and then I said, oh, there's a place I can save this to my photos. So what it did, it took a panoramic image and flattened it out, and all kinds of cool shit happened when you did that. And then I said to myself, wow, this is something that can really be paintable.
Okay.
Yeah. So I experimented a lot with that. And it was fun. I like incorporating sometimes digital stuff that, takes to experiment with images.
Mm-hmm.
And then see if I can incorporate it in painting a little bit.
I have not had a lot of success incorporating digital means into image making. My eldest daughter, Nora, who's 14.
Wow, 14, Chris.
Yeah, she works often on, I think it's Procreate or something, on her fancy iPad with like Apple Pencil, and she does some really amazing pieces on there, and they're very quick. And a few times I have attempted to uh, sort of even make the most simple, like sunset landscape image, and it has been abhorrently awful.
No, really?
Yes, it was like embarrassing. I I was unable to do everything that I wanted to do, and not having the ability to tangibly like pick things up and move them was really pissing me off. So yeah, I think I probably have spent close to 20 hours attempting to draw digitally and to transfer what I do to digital, and yeah, absolute bullshit. I'm using the completely wrong brush while I'm telling you the story here, and my figure started to look more like a yard gnome than the figure in the distance here.
That's like that.
It is very saleable in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are adding a lot of violet in there, which looks really nice. And I added some along the horizon, and I'm not really. I think I see it, but I'm not confident right now that I'm going to be able to put it in and not start to make a mess here.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I have a problem with my values too. I think that the whole sky should be a lot lighter than me.
Yeah.
And then I go back and go mess with it, and then I'm like, oh no.
Well, this particular image, I think, is kind of a neat challenge because the white of the wave is what actually, I think, makes all the other dark blips kind of appear to be as dark as they are. I think without that white wave, everything else just sort of gray out into that into the blue there. So I'm kind of hesitant about working with the white quite yet.
Oh,
So as you can hear, I have because I kind of taught myself how to go from point A to B in painting. I have all of the anxiety of people in school telling me what to do for drawing and sculpture, but it's superimposed over trying to do things myself and paint. So it comes with its own setbacks. And one of those is superstition.
That's nice, though. Oh, I like that a lot.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it looks really good. I think you're doing a really good job. You're probably better off not have been taught, you know? I picked up a lot of my teachers' habits,
Oh, really?
like
Like whose bad habits have you
I
been
don't know if it's a
unable to
bad
kick?
habit. I don't know if it's a bad habit. Jerry Weiss,
Uh-huh.
he was very heavy on line and drawing
Yes.
and relining. Yeah. So sometimes I feel I do that too much sometimes, and then it freezes up my work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Things that kind of thing.
I was pretty heavy with line when I started painting the beer bottles and oysters and crawfish when I was in New Orleans, because I was confident that I knew how to draw an image, although paint it, I was not sure of how to do it. So everything had some really heavy line outlines. Um, the underpainting, like a lot of it showed along the edge. All the edges were hard edges. You know the drill. That
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I've been working for quite a while to attempt to get away from it
Yeah.
and actually be able to control how much of it I leave.
That's good.
Yeah, I like your figures in the distance. They read well.
Yeah, they look good. The ones in the foreground probably overdone a little bit.
Uh, and this is this whole process of like starting a painting and having to talk and then getting it close to finish. It'll change the way that you think you work
Ah,
too in like slight ways. Like you'll make decisions like sort of subconsciously, and you'll leave other things. And yeah, I noticed that the pieces I do on these videos are very distinct from my plein air work and from my studio work.
wow.
The plein air work tends to uh, be a lot heavier with paint, and the studio work is more precise in color
Ah.
and in the way that I kind of scratch shit out because I've been kind of obsessed with that lately too. Scratching it.
Uh-huh. That's,
Now, do you use a palette knife at all?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually some of this is palette knife.
Okay.
I went back and put the brush back to it.
Because some of the shapes that you make in the cityscapes that I've seen from you, they look like large brushes, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is that a palette knife or is that a brush?
It could
Because
have been.
it's sort of a light touch that you do.
Yeah, this is one palette knife. Sometimes I use this thing.
Oh, really? You use like
Well,
a...
sometimes. Yeah,
Oh,
this is the bigger ones. This one I use a lot though. It's pretty worn down.
yeah.
Yeah, I keep
I
it over. Yeah.
I
Yes.
have moved away from the wooden palette knives, and
Well,
I get these solid palette knives that are made either from stainless steel or titanium that
uh,
don't have any welds in them. They're really nice. They're oak blades.
yeah, Sheehan taught me to like mix it up. He says
Yeah.
don't always use a palette knife. You know, mix it up with a brush, do brush work, and mix it up with
Yeah.
different. Yeah, because he really nailed me one time when I did a palette knife painting. He
Uh-huh.
says he says, "What the hell am I in the mall?" I said, "Yeah, mall." It's like, oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
What happened to Steve?
I don't know.
It has been years and years since I've heard anything really about most of the instructors at the academy.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's even been a few years since I've seen Don, Gail.
Oh,
Um, yeah. But, I'm not in New England anymore. I'm kind of
yeah.
on the road and out west a lot. So,
Yeah, I don't know about Don Gale. I think he might be teaches classes every now and then at the
mhm.
Blind Art Association, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's where Hollis teaches. I think
hmm,
Hollis is still in Connecticut.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I see. I see a few people from the
Uh-huh.
academy online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen any of Liz Brown's posts?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. For people who don't know, Liz Brown was a another person who went to the Glam Academy with Sheila and I, and she was a painter, and she has some very funny uh, posts during quarantine.
Ah.
Yeah.
Huh. What's her thing on? Is it on Instagram?
Yeah, I think she's just Liz Brown.
Oh, okay.
I always like to push and ask my guests what Instagram handles are for references, so people can say, oh, they were talking about so and so. Let me see who they are, sort of thing. And of course, now I'm caught mentioning someone and not knowing their Instagram handle offhand. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just Liz Brown or Liz Brown Art or something.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. This is. Oh man, I don't often work with like a turquoise color,
uh-huh.
so it feels kind of very intense to me against the blue.
See. Oh, wow. That is so cool, though. Oh, I love it.
Oh, thank you.
I like it. You're just laying in pure colors. That's great. Juju. Hey.
Oh, I hear a doggy. We
Yeah.
just got a puppy too.
Oh, you did?
Yes, she is a half lab, half husky.
Wow.
Yeah, a labski they call him.
Wow. Nice.
I'm surprised that she hasn't run up and tackled anything that I'm using up front here today.
Is she
I shot another video with an artist from New Jersey yesterday, Jimmy Leslie, and right like 10 minutes in, we're talking about something, and I was home alone with the puppy, and she just kind of beelined it straight for me and knocked over the camera, knocked over a bunch of stuff. But, I mean, it was still cute, you know.
That's so cute.
Oh, man. Yep. Sometimes I'm great with the palette knife, and other times, not so much. I think sometimes you have like a feel for your tools,
Uh-huh.
and I found with me it's not an everyday thing, you know.
Yeah.
I go through spurts.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, Chris, you can do it. I'm trying to get ready to put in my wave highlights here. So, how often are you at the beach? Are you like a beach bum? Do you just go occasionally?
This year I only went twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rhode Island made it difficult. It made it like they only had their parking lot open to 25% people. 25% of the.
Oh,
So you'd have to like get up so early in the morning and fight the crowd.
gotcha.
Yeah. And then a friend of mine has a boat, and we go out in that, but got it in the water really late, and then all kinds of people, all his friends wanted to go, so
Hmm.
it can only hold so many people on the boat. Whatever, but it was good what we did.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. I definitely was like in the beginning of the year, thought to myself, this is going to be great. I'm going to be in California for a few different things, and I can make it over to the beach at some point. And I was hoping to be in California like until May at least,
Wow.
and we did not get there. We were trapped in like just outside of Sedona, Arizona, and then we went from there straight up to Idaho,
Wow.
and then we've been around Yellowstone National Park for a few months, and we have just left and come down back into Tennessee again.
Wow.
So
Life living like
uh,
that.
it's interesting, and I hope um, to make it to a beach uh, before the end of the year.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
in-
Okay.
that's really interesting living like that, though, Chris.
It's fun. I
Yes.
mean, there are times when it's not fun, but I think there are more positives on the list than negatives.
Wow.
And when you get used to it, um, seeing other people just stationary all year long,
Yeah.
it's a little weird.
Huh. So, do you drive it or you
Yeah,
pull it? Oh, okay.
no, we have a 36-foot Class A coach, so
Wow.
we pull our Honda behind it.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and we have gone almost everywhere. We
Wow.
are outfitted with solar.
Whoa.
Yep. So we can. They call it boondock, where you are kind of off grid, and we have the ability to do that, and that's been really fun because we can stay in some really neat locations, like um, right along the beach in Ventura, Carpinteria area, just above LA, along the Pacific Coast Highway is a really awesome spot. And then we can pretty much just all winter be out in the desert, between um, Tucson and Vegas, um, that whole area, like Palm Springs, and we don't have to be hooked up, you know. We can just,
Cool.
yes, so we can avoid some of the harsh weather that you New Englanders have to deal with.
Okay. Yeah, well, Debbie absolutely loves the cold weather coming from
Yeah?
Texas. Oh my God.
Oh,
I think we might end up moving to Texas
really?
in a couple of years. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. That's okay.
Brace yourself.
I know the heat, huh?
Yeah, there's a certain type of Texas hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, especially when you're driving across the middle of it in the summer. It is it's pretty crazy.
Great.
Yeah, I've condensed my image here a little bit because I wanted to kind of get more into the square. And are you working square or do you have a
It's
rectangle there?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% square thing. I didn't
And
measure it. I just said to myself, it looks right. Yeah, I'll do it. Good enough.
yeah, yeah. I like I like working in like a square format. I initially did it because I was confused about Instagram, and I didn't like converting the images I had to square, and so I just thought I'll just paint square, and I won't have to do that. And it was such a bizarre choice to make, but this is like 2013, so it was several years back now, and I really never thought about it really,
Huh.
and I got used to kind of working my compositions in square format and kind of not allowing stuff to just fall off of edges or be um, too heavy. How when you do square, sometimes if you're too heavy on one side or the other, it's really, really heavy.
Yeah.
It really reads as being a little bit off. Oh, okay. So I kind of put
Oh, I like that.
some of the lighter color in for the waves and trying to balance it. Oh, I'm using yellow ochre, so I think that I can get that sand color in the background
Uh-huh.
with
Oh, that's a good color. Yeah.
with the other pigments I chose. Now, do you work on a large palette, or do you kind of have a smaller palette? Like,
It's probably um, it's probably about 16 inches deep.
hmm
Measure it. Curious. No, 12 foot by 20, 29, 28.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I got used to working on it 8-inch by 8-inch glass palette.
Oh, cool.
So whether I'm doing like a 2-foot by 4-foot piece or like an 8-inch by 8-inch piece is what I'm working on here. I always just kind of use a small palette, and I kind of got used to cleaning it after all my colors, and it teaches you how to really move paint around on palette knives, because you're forced to constantly be shifting your colors around to make more room.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So
That really makes sense.
So, have you tried anything else over the past couple of decades painting? Like, have you tried still life at all, or?
Well, still life. Well, it's,
Just a random question, Sheila.
I have like, oh, you know what I tried? I tried, you ever hear that thing called Blender? It's a digital software.
No, I don't think I have.
It's free. It's
Okay.
3D software, and it's
Okay.
free. Right? And I've always been fascinated with, you know, gaming a little bit, and how they make you know, those cartoons and Walt Disney movies.
Okay.
You know, special effects, all that crap.
Yeah.
So I said, oh Jesus, it's free, and it's one of the most amazing 3D software you can get for free. I mean, it's mind blowing. The scale of this thing is crazy. So like several years ago, 6 years ago or something, I downloaded it and spent a month or more on trying to figure it out. And I ended up like making like these little second videos, digital 3D videos, and I was like just so proud of myself that I could get that far with it, you know.
What did you do with these videos you made?
I tried to make a figure and I couldn't do it.
Oh.
I couldn't make the figure in 3D. Plus, I couldn't animate it. Yeah, so I was totally stuck, and I couldn't figure it out. So I quit. that was about it. Or trying something different.
Huh.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Blender.
Yeah, Blender. It's amazing. I still have it on my computer.
Did you come up with?
Well,
did you come up with like a project or a finished piece that you showed other people? Like, was anything?
Yeah, it's probably on my Facebook thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense because I'm not on Facebook, so I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, I put that up years ago.
Oh, okay.
It's buried in there somewhere.
Maybe you can get me the direct link at some point.
There was some kind of floating thing in space. And then I had a glass mirror with different colors in it explode in space. Yeah, in 3D. I was very proud of that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It sounds like something that would be a crazy time sink for me, and because once I start something, I'm kind of a little obsessive about completing things, like, and that goes for video games or anything really. And I do get addicted to things like video games on my phone and stuff.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Design home, that design home thing now. Oh my God. You design like these rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get all this furniture and all this shit to put in it. And then you get scored by people on it. Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
really?
Oh yeah. It's a big thing. But what happens is that if you don't have the right couches or chairs or wall art, you name it,
Hmm.
you can't make the because the rooms are all different all the time. So if you don't have the right stuff, it's gonna look like crap, right? So guess what you have to buy? You have to buy the
Oh.
diamonds. I know, right? And then
Yeah.
as a cost, then I'm like telling Debbie, I gotta go buy iTunes card so I can put some money into my account because I keep on buying the crap.
Yeah. It's always, yeah, it almost feels like a gambling habit
Yeah.
when you pay for video games or anything. Like there's a notion that 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 stuff is just for like teenagers.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've had
And
to
this
stop
is
myself
true.
many a time.
And I keep on kidding her saying, we're going to go broke playing this shit. And then she figured out a way how to get a shitload of diamonds. Like she ended up with like 150,000 diamonds. I said, what the hell did you do? She said, I signed up for Save the Children for $20 a month. I said, you kidding me? She says, no, but you guess what? I'm going to pull my name. I'm going to cancel it. I said, that's so mean.
Yeah,
I know,
man.
right?
What
She
about
says,
those
yeah,
kids?
they get the first 20. I said, but still. She says, oh, there's so many people given to that thing. She said, I'm like, oh my God. Like, look what gambling's doing to you.
Yeah, I had we sometimes stay at casinos, and in order to get the pass for the coach, you
Uh,
have to play a certain amount of money, and it's usually a small amount, and you get like a voucher, and then you can go put a tag on your motorhome, and they won't kick you out of the motorhome area of these casinos out west. And um, I was really, really careful about what I gambled with, and they had all these different um, types of gambling you could do in order to be able to win, quote unquote, your spot for the evening. You
oh,
know, because it's like a point-based system in some of these places. So I just had to make a rule for myself that I was going to anyway, if we stayed somewhere else, be spending X amount of money on a campsite. So I would never go over that amount when I played, when you play for your site, essentially. And I was proud because I never actually did. I was able to keep it to a minimum. And Becky and I figured out that we actually made money staying at casinos over like a 3 month period because I won more than we spent.
whoa,
Yeah, and I
that's
was
crazy.
yeah I was just really careful about what I played, how I played, when I stopped, and
Wow.
so I lucked out there because that's another uh, area of caution for me where I could easily just go crazy. you know,
Yeah.
and be like, hey,
Wow.
we had to play for a spot. I guess I lost.
Huh.
Okay. Now, how close to finished do you feel you are at this point? Because we've been going for an hour now, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Pretty close.
cool. Because
How do you feel?
it's neat when we can kind of just call the piece finished and sign them. And I think there's something neat about the camaraderie of being able to do that. So, are you ready to put your?
I got one more little thing to do.
Okay. Just a little bit of figure touch up there. Yeah. I
That's
I put figures in, but I'm also omitting some of the people too. I'm trying to downplay it just a bit. Oh, fuck. That reminds me.
what's
I
that?
need to put one more piece of paint. I almost forgot. My little guy in the corner over here. There we go. Okay. I think that reads.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's pretty much done.
excellent.
Yeah.
How do you...
See the line? See what I mean about putting my
Oh, yeah. No, but it works, though, because, I mean, there is a darker area there, and you really didn't have to do too much to it, and I had to actually paint it in because I was working on top of like a really, really bright orange base on there. So I think I'm going to...
sign it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I should sign it.
What color?
It's always a little bit of a challenge because it's so easy to fuck this part up. I think I'm going to go, yep, lower left-hand corner.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, excellent. Ha You can do it, Sheila. You can do it.
I'm getting there. Ah,
See, I have it super easy because all I have to do is 4 stylized letters.
yay!
Fantastic. How can people see your work online? Do you have a website or do you just post on Instagram or what?
Good. Yeah. Instagram, and that's it.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm going to include that in the description, but do you just want to say what your Instagram account is?
Oh, it's Barbone at Barbone Paints.
Okay. Hey,
We're getting thunder.
this was a whole lot of fun, Sheila.
Oh, it was. It was awesome.
Thank you so much. Looks
Thank
great.
you for inviting me, Chris.